My name is Christina, and I'm going to be showing you how to use the Zotero software. If you don't already have Zotero on your computer, you'll need to download it first. To do so, open a browser tab and go to the website zotero.org. From there, go ahead and click Download Now. You can download it for Mac, Windows, or Linux, and then just follow the on-screen prompts to install it to your computer. I already have Zotero on my laptop, so I'm just going to show you using my software now. But if you haven't already installed, please do that before continuing with the video. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the Zotero software. When you open it, it'll look something like this. My software tends to already have a lot of citations in it. Yours will be blank if this is your first time installing it. Things to note, though, are how Zotero organizes all your citations. It uses a hierarchical system of folders to do so. So this is called your library, and under it you have all your folders. To create a new folder, go up to this button and click New Collection and title it. I'm going to call this ENVD 3114 History of Architecture. It'll appear over here as a new folder for you. This is where you can store all of your citations for a specific project. If you would like to make a subcategory, that's completely possible. As you can see, in some of my folders, I have multiple subfolders. This might be because I have this one class, but I have multiple assignments, but I want to keep things organized based on what class is it for and what assignment. So to create a subfolder, right-click and click New Subcollection. Title it as appropriate. If you have multiple, go ahead and make another one. Or you can combine them. It's really a personal preference. To add items to each folder, make sure the folder you want to populate is highlighted on the left side. There are multiple ways to add citations to Zotero. First, I'll show you the manual way. To add a citation manually, click the green plus button at the top. It'll give you a drop-down menu of 5 types of work that you may want to cite. If none of these works are what you're trying to cite, hover over More and look at the many others. Perhaps it's one of those. For this first example, I'm going to cite a book. Once you select the type of work, this dialog will open on the right-hand side. It'll give you many lines to populate with information. We're going to use some of them, but not all of them. For example, I have a book here that I'm going to show you as a citation. The book is called Materials, Structures, and Standards, and it's by Julia McMurrow. So the title I'm going to write is Materials, Structures, and Standards. The author is going to be McMurrow, Julia. Most books don't have abstracts, but this would be extremely helpful if you were using journal articles and you had many of them and you couldn't remember which was about what. You could give a brief summary and it's not going to change anything about the citation, it's just mostly for your reference. If the site or the author of your book or article is not the author, you can click on this drop-down menu next to author and choose between contributor, editor, series editor, or translator. This particular book doesn't have a series number, therefore it's not part of a series. There's no volume or volume numbers. It is not made for multiple editions. However, this might be important if you're citing something like a textbook that does have multiple editions. The place refers to the place of publishing. So in this case, this book was published in Beverly, Massachusetts. So I'll write Beverly, Massachusetts. The publisher is Rockport Publishers. And the date refers to the copyright date, which in the case of this book is 2006. All of this information can be found within the first 2 to 3 pages of any book on the inside. Pages are only appropriate if you're referencing certain group of pages within a book and not necessarily the entire book. So let's say I only was talking about references on pages 130 and 131. I could write 130 and 131. Language would only be really appropriate if you were referencing a work that was not written in the language you're going to be writing your paper in. So in this case, English. So if you were using a source from Sweden or Mexico or something, just go ahead and write the language. Not super critical, but it's useful. And then the rest of these items come standard in every citation that comes into Zotero, and typically will not be used if you're not based on the type of work. So all of these things are available for every type of work. They don't change based on if you click book or journal article or website. So after you finish populating all of the appropriate lines, your citation has been saved and stored automatically right here, and it'll give you the title, the author, the date, and then the date you added it. However, this process can be kind of tedious, so that's why Zotero has an auto-cite feature, and that's what this little magic wand with the green plus is. So there are many ways you can use this, and it's super helpful. You can sort by, or find a citation by the ISBN number, which is what most books come with. It's a book identifier libraries use, Amazon uses it. Pretty much any type of book will have an ISBN number. DOIs are identifiers for scholarly articles and journal articles. And so those are going to be the ones you're going to use most often. If you have a PMID, you can also look it up by PMID. But just to show you how much faster it is to use this feature if you know this information, I have the same book, Material Structures and Standards, and I have the ISBN number, which can either be found on the back cover or on the inside first couple pages like I talked about earlier. A lot of books have 2 ISBN numbers. It doesn't really matter which one you use. So, for example, the ISBN for this book is 978-1-59253-193-6. Hit enter, and it automatically finds the book. And it actually pulls up all of the information that I missed, which is why this is a much better way to go about citing sources. If you did it the manual way and included all of these things that I showed, that's totally fine and it's sufficient. But if you can do it this way, it'll be a lot more effective, and you'll get, you won't miss any details. So you can do it with the auto feature. If you know the DOI number for a journal article, you can also just literally cut and paste it in here, and it's going to automatically put all the information into Zotero for you. So I'll show you how to cite one more with the auto search feature, and this time we'll do a journal article using the DOI. So let's say I'm at the C. Boulder Library's website database and I'm looking for scholarly articles on Greek architecture. And I get my search results and I decide I want to narrow it down to peer-reviewed, and I want them to be journal articles. And after searching through all of the options, I find a few that I really like. And so I'm going to use Greek Architecture by Barbara A. Barletta from the American Journal of Archaeology. And I click on it and I go through the sign-in process the university makes me do to access the journal articles. And I get to the article itself, where I can get to a PDF and all that good stuff. And you'll see here there's a DOI listed, and this is true for all journal articles. If I highlight it and cut it and paste it into Zotero, so I've highlighted it, going back to Zotero, going to my magic wand, and pasting the DOI number, it'll automatically load that citation in. Gives me all of the information, and so then later I can access it. So I'll do this with a couple more so we get a good bibliography going. Alright, and now that I have multiple sources, I can show you some of the other cool features of Zotero, such as exporting to a bibliography and getting proper in-text citations. I'm going to go ahead and delete this extra one first. Actually hit duplicate. Move item to trash. Move item to trash. So we got our running list of items here. You can add tags to it if you want, so for easy searching later on. You can add notes and related, but that's pretty advanced. You can also search by those things later. But great, so we got our list of citations, and now we're going along, and I've got my research paper going here, and I need to cite this fact here. To do so, I know it comes from this source here. So to get a proper in-text citation format, what I can do is right-click on the item I want to use, create bibliography from item, and select citation. From this list, you can pick the type of citation system you want to use. For ENVD 3114, you have to use Chicago Manual Style Author Date. So I'm going to click this one, and it's going to automatically copy to my clipboard. Hit OK. Go back to my paper. Here's the fact I want to cite, and I just paste it in. I'll have to fix the format of the text and the font and size later, but it pastes it right in the proper format, which in this case is author date. So I go along and I do that for all the facts that need citations. If I need to change it, I can go back to Zotero and say I need to do in-text citation for this style. Chicago Manual Date, citations, copy to clipboard. And then as I am going along in my paper, I'm making sure not to miss any fact that goes uncited and is now cited properly. Alright, so then I finish my paper, and I've got my works cited here at the end, or my bibliography. And I can easily export my entire Zotero list of sources in one click, basically. So I highlight all of my sources, create bibliography from items, select the citation style, bibliography for the output mode, and copy to clipboard. The nice thing about doing this is it automatically formats your sources into Chicago style, or whatever style you chose, format, and then also alphabetizes them, which is also a key part of a bibliography. Hit Control V and it automatically imports it into my document. It's alphabetized and it's formatted perfectly. Unfortunately, Zotero does this thing where it decides it wants to put your text past your margin. So if that happens, just go ahead and highlight it and slide it over so it makes sense. Typically, bibliographies are double-spaced with the hanging indentation to indicate a new line. Zotero does this for you automatically, so you don't need to worry with futzing with the hanging indentation. But that's pretty much how you do it, and it makes it a billion times easier than trying to do it all manually and then also missing things, putting them out of order. So I highly, highly recommend that for your research notes and for your actual paper and any steps or papers you write here in the rest of your college career and beyond, you very much, basically I just recommend that you download Zotero, use it frequently, and then if you ever need to go back and visit your citations, they're all stored here. Even the URLs, you can just click on them, copy, paste, and get back to that source immediately. If you end up having to write a thesis and you have hundreds of sources, it keeps it all organized for you. You can, like I said, you can tag things, sort them, and create very beautiful, accurate bibliographies. One last helpful thing about Zotero is it comes with a Safari and Chrome plugin. And I highly recommend you download this as well. So if you go back to the Zotero website and click Download Now, it's called the Zotero Connector. So if I click Install Safari Connector, it's going to take a little bit to download. And what the connector basically does is it becomes a plugin for your browser, and it'll appear right here if you use Safari. And when you go to a website or a article or something else that is supported by Zotero, you just click that button and it automatically imports into your Zotero library. So I'll show you how it works. So I got my downloads, have the plugin. If you're using a Mac, it'll automatically prompt you into the extensions tab of the Safari preferences. I'm going to say I trust it, and it's automatically installed. And you see I got a new button here at the top. It says Save to Zotero web page with snapshot. So I can close this. And let's say I am looking at articles or websites, and I'm Googling Greek architecture. And I'm curious about looking at, I'm looking for a good source, and I decide that maybe I want to check out the Ancient History Encyclopedia. You are allowed to have non-scholarly sources, but they can't be the bulk of your, they can't make up the bulk of your evidence. So here I am, I'm reading about Greek architecture, and I decide this source has definitely things I want to reference in my paper. So I make sure, I open up Zotero first, make sure that I am selected into the folder that I want it to import to. If I'm not, if I'm selected on Spanish or something, it's going to import there. So I want to import it into Research Notes 1, go back to my browser, and just simply click the Save to Zotero button. Sometimes it looks a little bit different depending on the type of web page it is, but as long as it's not grayed out, you can click on it. So I clicked on it, and it says Saving to Research Notes 1. And when I reopen up to Zotero, there it is, from the Ancient History Encyclopedia. However, when you use the extension, you do want to double check that it captured all of the important information, because based on the type of website, it may not have been able to identify the author even if it was listed. So just always double check to make sure that the information that was imported is in fact accurate. So for example, this article is by Mark Cartwright, but it did not import the author. So before saving this as a citation, I would definitely need to go in and fix it. It just saves a little bit of time and is easy for you to get quick grabs. There are websites that will not work with Zotero and it will be grayed out, so unfortunately those are the kinds that you will have to enter manually, as shown at the beginning of the video. So that's just the last step of using Zotero as the plugin. Like I said, it's available for Chrome and Safari. If you want step-by-step directions on how to install the plugin for Chrome, I don't use Chrome typically, so I can't really show you how to do that, but there are probably plenty of YouTube videos and resources online that can show you how to install Chrome plugins. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks. Bye.